Okay, good night. It's 9 p.m., so I will start this presentation on Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim and 10 steps to become Prime Minister 10 through Constitutional Convention. So we will discuss the process on how Anwar Ibrahim has been appointed as Prime Minister, and he was appointed based on Constitutional Convention. So let us go through this process together. So first, let us look at the provision in the federal constitution itself. So Article 42A of the federal constitution, it said that the Yang di-Pertuan Agong may act in his discretion in the performance of the following function, that is to say, A, the appointment of a prime minister. So the appointment of the prime minister is being done by Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and it is based on his discretion. So this is the power of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. One of the power of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, solely owned by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, to appoint the new prime minister. And then we have another article provision in the federal constitution also, which is Article 43(2)A of the federal constitution, which said that the Yang di-Pertuan Agong shall first appoint as Perdana Menteri or Prime Minister to preside over the cabinet a member of House of Representatives who, in his judgment, is likely to command the confidence of the majority of the members of that house. So, how Yang di-Pertuan Agong going to appoint the new Prime Minister is based on his own judgment. And his own judgment is based on likely. That is a very broad terms. Likely, which is based on Yang di-Pertuan Agong, his judgment, to who will command the confidence of the majority of the House of Representatives, which is Dewan Rakyat, who he thinks have the majority support from the Dewan Rakyat. What is the majority here? I don't know. It can be anything. It can be 112 out of the 222 seats contested in the general election. Maybe that is the definition of majority here. But the majority can mean anything. It is up to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong to decide what it means by majority. So we have a very broad perspective on majority also here. So Perdana Menteri, Prime Minister must be elected from the House of Representatives, from Dewan Rakyat. And then what happened during the election in general election 15th is that we have what we call it as a hung parliament. So in the hung parliament, we don't have the majority. We don't have the majority of 112 win by a certain party. What we have, the highest is from Pakatan Harapan, they have 82 seats, and Perikatan Nasional 73 seats, and no coalition of parties or political parties have the highest number, that is 112 or more seats to command the majority in the Dewan Rakyat. So what happened is that we have a hung parliament. Nobody win the election. Something like that. And then, as we can see here, federal constitution is silent on how a prime minister is to be appointed when there is a hung parliament. Where a written constitution is silent, one must consider if the law provides an alternative legal mechanism. As we can see here just now, we have Article 42A and 43(2)A. Both of this provision doesn't tell you how to appoint a prime minister if there is a hung parliament. It is provide you a mechanism on to appoint a prime minister if a certain political parties or a coalition of parties have have a majority, which is more than 112 and more seats win in the general election. But this kind of thing happened during the general election 15, where there is nobody wins 112 seats and more, the majority. And then now we look at the step one. We have 10 steps. In the title, I show you there is a 10 step happening during the election, during the appointment of the Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim. 10 steps of the Constitutional Convention before Anwar Ibrahim become a Prime Minister. So the first step after the general election, the first step is that we refer to the Istana Negara statement, the statement that come from the Istana Negara. Why we look at the Istana Negara statement? Because in the Istana Negara, it is the official statement of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Because Yang di-Pertuan Agong have a discretion to appoint the Prime Minister. So don't look at the newspaper, don't look at the whatever stream or whatever people say. The official source of information is from Istana Negara. After the general election, the official source of information is from Istana Negara. That is the official information. It's come sooner, late, or fast, or earlier. It is up to Istana Negara to make the official statement. Okay, first, we look at the official statement from Istana Negara, which is Kenyataan Media from Istana Negara, dated 20 November. So this is step one. Step one, after the election, is Yang di-Pertuan Agong receive official results of the election. So in the statement there, it is said that adalah dimaklumkan bahawa Istana Negara telah menerima keputusan rasmi pilihan raya umum ke-15 PRU 15 yang telah berlangsung semalam 19 November 2022 daripada Suruhanjaya Pilihan Raya Malaysia pada jam 1.15 tengah hari ini. Very specific statement from Istana Negara. So first, and the Tuan Agong received that information from SPR, which is the official result of the general election. So it's official. Everything, the result is officially disembahkan kepada Yang di-Pertuan Agong, to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. So first step, we have the official result received by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. And then we have second step. After the official result seen by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and there is no majority, what happened is that due to the hung parliament, because there is no majority, automatically we go into constitutional convention. So what is constitutional convention? Constitutional convention is unwritten rules established by long practice. These rules guide the conduct of politicians and the monarchs. Dicey and Mill argue conventions are positive political morality, which ensure that the electorate's will is respected. A convention is not a law passed by parliament. To that extent, it is not written law. Nevertheless, legal conventions have long been accepted. They have withstood decades of consistent practice. So, because there is no written rule on how we going to appoint prime minister if there is hung parliament, so we use unwritten rule, which is constitutional convention. So after the Yang di-Pertuan Agong receive the result, there is hung parliament. We cannot use written rule. Now we go to unwritten rule, which is constitutional convention, which is practice. It is based on the practice. So after that, after it is confirmed that there is a hung parliament, we go into constitutional convention. We go to step 3. This step 3 is what is the action by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and the order or instruction given by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Everything from this on forward is everything decided by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. But how Yang di-Pertuan Agong going to do this appointment of the Prime Minister? First, he appoint this yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat to do his job for him. So yang di-Pertuan Agong is bersemayam in his takhta. He is not going to go around and meet everybody and do the administration works. No. And di-Pertuan Agong will tell some kind of people to do the job for him. So one of the job is given to yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat. So in another statement in the media statement by Istana Negara on 20 November 2022 is that Istana Negara telah meminta kerjasama yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat yang berbahagia Tan Sri Azhar Azizan Harun memohon kepada ketua parti-parti politik dan ketua gabungan parti-parti politik yang mempunyai jumlah kursi yang banyak untuk memaklumkan kepada pihak Istana Negara mengenai gabungan parti-parti politik yang telah dipersetujui antara parti-parti politik atau gabungan parti-parti politik berkenaan bagi pembentukan kerajaan baharu pasca PRU 15. So, yang Tuan Agong di sini dia lantik yang di-Pertua Dewan Negara, Dewan Rakyat untuk berjumpa dengan ketua-ketua parti politik dan ketua gabungan parti-parti politik. So, apa yang berlaku di sini ialah if we see this closely, what yang di-Pertuan Agong are doing is still based on the constitution. So even though it is a constitutional convention already, but still yang di-Pertuan Agong follow the pathway of the constitution, that the provision given in the federal constitution. So yang di-Pertuan Agong following here is still, as we refer to Article 43(2)(a), it said that yang di-Pertuan Agong shall first appoint as Perdana Menteri to preside over the cabinet a member of the House of Representatives, who in his judgment is likely to command the confidence of the majority of the member of that house. So, who are the leader of that house? The leader of that house is yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat. So, who are the best thing to go to the political party? The leader of the political party that win is yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat to do the job, to find out who should win the election ultimately in the end. So, still yang di-Pertuan Agong are playing around with the provision given in the federal constitution, respecting the will of the rakyat, respecting the provision, the sanctity of the federal constitution. Yang di-Pertuan Agong doesn't appoint the army chief. Yang di-Pertuan Agong doesn't appoint yang di-Pertua Dewan Negara or anybody else, but he appoint the leaders in the Dewan, which is in the House of Representatives, in the Dewan Rakyat, which is yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat himself. So this is the wisdom, and this is, we can see that yang di-Pertuan Agong is very strict. I cannot say it very strict. He is very detailed and very respectful with the federal constitution and try to follow as much as possible the federal constitution, even though we are already venture into the constitutional convention situation. So in this situation, as we can see, so yang di-Pertuan Agong delegate the task to us, the leaders of the political party just now, to the yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat. So no need for yang di-Pertuan Agong to see everybody going there and here. No need. Just appoint yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat, and yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat will do the job for yang di-Pertuan Agong. So this will save a lot of time for yang di-Pertuan Agong to gather the information. So the task given for yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat is yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat, which is who is Yang Bahagia Tan Sri Azhar Azizan Harun. He will memohon kepada ketua parti-parti politik dan ketua gabungan parti-parti politik yang mempunyai jumlah kursi yang banyak untuk memaklumkan kepada pihak Istana Negara mengenai gabungan parti-parti politik yang telah dipersetujui antara parti-parti politik atau gabungan parti-parti politik berkenaan bagi pembentukan kerajaan baru pasca PRU 15. So, ini yang berlaku. Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat dititahkan untuk berjumpa dengan ketua parti-parti politik dengan ketua gabungan parti-parti politik untuk menilai jumlah kursi yang banyak untuk menentukan siapa yang menang pilihan raya yang ke-15. So, ini kita kena baca dengan teliti. Yang di-Pertuan Agong menitahkan yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat untuk berjumpa dengan ketua parti politik dengan ketua gabungan parti politik. So, gabungan parti politik contohnya Barisan Nasional, dia ada ketua dia. Pakatan Harapan tu gabungan parti politik, dia ada ketua dia. Gabungan Parti Sarawak contohnya, dia ada gabungan dia. Dia ketua-ketua gabungan ni pun kena jumpa. Dan orang lain yang kena jumpa juga, orang yang menang pilihan raya tu, parti-parti yang menang pilihan raya tu, jumpa ketua parti dia. Contohnya dalam Barisan Nasional kita ada UMNO, MCA, MIC. Dalam Pakatan Harapan kita ada PKR, DAP, Amanah, GPS kita ada PBB, PDP, SUPP, SUPP. Semua ketua parti politik yang spesifik ni pun kena jumpa. Ketua dia, ketua parti politik dengan ketua gabungan parti politik. So, ini step yang keempat. Step yang keempatnya, selepas lantik yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat tadi, yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat tu jumpa, suruh ketua parti politik ni tadi dengan ketua gabungan parti politik tu berbincang untuk membentuk gabungan. Untuk membentuk gabungan supaya gabungan tu nanti akan mempunyai majoriti mudah untuk membentuk to form a new government in Malaysia. So, this is the instruction given. So, the discussion of these political parties and the coalition of political parties is to form a gabungan, either between the coalition or between the parties and coalition form together to form a gabungan, to form a bigger coalition, to determine if they will have a simple majority to form the new government. So that is the instruction given in the step 4 to discuss on the formation of the coalition, or what we call during that hectic time, we called it as a unity government. And then step 5. Step 5 is to confirm the coalition that is formed. So, this is another statement on 20 November. It is said here, ketua parti-parti politik dan ketua gabungan parti-parti politik tersebut akan diminta oleh Yang Bahagia Tan Sri Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat untuk memaklumkan mengenai gabungan parti-parti politik yang telah dipersetujui masing-masing serta mengemukakan nama seorang ahli Dewan Rakyat yang mendapat kepercayaan majoriti ahli Dewan Rakyat berikutan gabungan parti-parti politik tersebut untuk menjadi calon Perdana Menteri Malaysia kepada Istana Negara sebelum jam 2 petang pada hari Isnin 21 November 2022. So, diberi 1 hari untuk bincang. So, saya tunjukkan proses dari sini. Yang di-Pertuan Agong tadi, dia delegatekan task dia kepada yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat. Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat akan berjumpa kepada ketua parti politik dengan ketua gabungan parti politik supaya parti-parti politik ni berbincang untuk membentuk gabungan. Dan gabungan mana parti-parti politik tu yang bersetuju untuk bergabung tu akan diberikan informasi tu pada 21 November kepada yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat dan akan disembahkan kepada yang di-Pertuan Agong. Itu instruction. Step 5. You must confirm which gabungan by 21st November. Confirm. Who will work with who. And then, step 5. After step 5 is step 6. Step 6 is closely related with step 5. After you confirm the gabungan, and then you must propose who will become the Prime Minister. So it's said here, mengemukakan nama seorang ahli Dewan Rakyat yang mendapat kepercayaan majoriti ahli Dewan Rakyat berikutan gabungan parti-parti politik tersebut untuk menjadi calon Perdana Menteri Malaysia. So as we can see here just now, we have a gabungan. You must determine who in that gabungan have higher majority of number. But to choose the Prime Minister is a different thing. You can have 120 in a gabungan, but that 120 doesn't necessarily support the appointment of the Prime Minister. Still, the requirement to appoint the Prime Minister, it still need 112 or more MP to appoint a Prime Minister. You can have a coalition like 140 working together, but if that a coalition of party, they form based on political coalition just now, they work together, but if all that 140 MP and in that gabungan, not all of them agree to appoint certain person to become Prime Minister, it will not work. You still need 112 MP to agree to allow you to become a Prime Minister. So first form a gabungan, and then there's another step that come together to appoint a Prime Minister, which still require 112 or more MP. Simple majority. So this is step 6.1. We have step 6 just now, and then we have step 6.1. Because there's another statement on 21st November after they try to discuss about the gabungan and who will become Prime Minister. So the political parties in Malaysia, they want Yang di-Pertuan Agong to give them more times. It is written here, it said, pembentukan kerajaan baru dan pencalonan bakal Perdana Menteri Malaysia ke-10 dilanjutkan sehingga jam 2 petang esok, iaitu Selasa 22 November 2022. Titah perkenan Seri Paduka Baginda itu adalah susulan daripada permohonan daripada ketua parti-parti politik dan ketua gabungan parti-parti politik yang telah diterima oleh pihak Istana Negara hari ini. So from 21st November extend to 22 November to discuss who will gabung, who will make work with each other, and who will become Prime Minister, who they will propose to become Prime Minister. So it is political parties' affairs. We will not venture into that one. We are looking into the constitutional process on how the Prime Minister is being appointed. So after it was extended into 22 November, so all the political parties have more time to decide which coalition will work together, and how many people will agree to appoint a certain person, which is still require 112 or more MPs to appoint certain person to command the confidence in the Dewan Rakyat to become a Prime Minister. So this is still step 6.2. At first, there is a proposal from the Yang di-Pertuan Agong for Perikatan Nasional and Pakatan Harapan, which is a two coalition of political party that have the highest number of the votes during the election. So the proposal was given for Muhyiddin Yassin and Anwar Ibrahim to rotate the position of Prime Minister among each of them to make a rotation. However, it has been disclosed that Muhyiddin Yassin doesn't agree with this. So we still have a hung parliament. That is more into the inside story. So there is a hope there. There is a attempts there for Perikatan Nasional and Pakatan Harapan to work together. And how they can work together is to rotate the Prime Minister between Perikatan Nasional and Pakatan Harapan. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen, and we still have a hung parliament. And then step 7. In step 7, because there is still a hung parliament, the gabungan from who agreed to work with Pakatan Harapan and the gabungan that agreed to work with Perikatan Nasional still doesn't have more than 112 majority. So we go into step 7. In the step 7, yang di Pertuan Agong decide not to interview all the MP, but yang Pertuan Agong decide to go into the kingmaker. Who is the kingmaker in the Dewan Rakyat at that time? Clearly, it is a Barisan Nasional. So on 23rd November, it has been a statement from Istana Negara. It said proses seterusnya ialah sesi menghadap 30 ahli Dewan Rakyat daripada Barisan Nasional. Sesi menghadap secara individu ini dijadualkan berlangsung pada jam 10.30 pagi esok di Istana Negara. So, all 30 member of parliament from the coalition that form a kingmaker that can decide either the Perikatan Nasional or Pakatan Harapan can become the government. They are being asked to have the audience with the Yang Pertuan Agong individually. Because, like I said just now, here, this process here, we have a gabungan. Even though the gabungan have more than 120 people in that gabungan, but that still doesn't necessarily means that there is 112 people supporting certain people to become prime minister. To become prime minister, you still need individually each of the member of the Dewan Rakyat to tell you clearly who they are supporting to appoint prime minister. So that's why we have here the Yang di-Pertuan Agong decide to look into the kingmaker. And other than Barisan Nasional, Yang di-Pertuan Agong also look into the another coalition that have a big number, 22 MP, which is from Gabungan Parti Sarawak, on to decide who will become prime minister. So each of these representative MPs from Barisan Nasional and Gabungan Parti Sarawak have the audience individually with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, so that Yang di-Pertuan Agong know who have the command of simple majority to become prime minister. To form a coalition is different thing, but to command majority of the member of the House to become a prime minister is another thing. Now, what Yang di-Pertuan Agong try to determine is that who will become a prime minister based on the number of the member of the Dewan Rakyat that will support him to become a prime minister. And clearly, it is said here, adalah dimaklumkan bahawa proses yang tersebut di atas adalah selaras dengan perkara 43.2A Perlembagaan Persekutuan. Perkara 43.2A Perlembagaan Persekutuan, it said here just now, in his judgment is likely to command the confidence of the majority of the member of the House. As we can see, Yang di-Pertuan Agong, even so we already venture into constitutional convention, and the Pertuan Agong still look into still respect, still moving around smoothly along the line of the constitution. Doesn't venture far off from the constitution itself. So, and then we continue. After the kingmaker have the audience with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, individually 30 from Barisan Nasional and 22 MP from Gabungan Parti Sarawak. And then we step into We have for step 7, we have kingmaker. First, Yang Tuan Agong decide to meet with the one coalition that form a kingmakers. But because these kingmakers still give some troubles, don't know. It's because some of these coalition members still support this person, half is support this person. So steps 8, the Yang Tuan Agong decide to not just look at into one kingmakers, and Tuan Agong look into two kingmakers. Which is Barisan Nasional and Gabungan Parti Sarawak. So more people to decide who they will support to become Prime Minister, but still in line with Article 43(2)(a) of the Federal Constitution. And then this is what happened. Now it become more complicated. At first, just now we have Yang di-Pertuan Agong delegate the task to determine the support to ask to delegate the task to the Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat to meet with the leaders of the parties and the leaders of the coalition of parties to ask them to make a gabungan, to a bigger coalition, so that gabungan will have more than simple majority to form a government. So they discussed from 21st November until 22nd November and presented it to Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat to be assented to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, but still there is a deadlock. So Yang di-Pertuan Agong decided to look into the kingmaker decision from Barisan Nasional and Gabungan Parti Sarawak, so that any coalition that have the majority support to appoint Prime Minister, so that person will become a Prime Minister for Malaysia. After that, after step 8, we have step 9. In step 9, all the information that has been gathered from the kingmakers just now, Yang di-Pertuan Agong already know who have simple majority based on this process. Just now. First, Yang Tuan Agong asked Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat to ask again to leaders of political party to form the gabungan, and then from the gabungan still deadlock, and then go to the kingmakers. The kingmakers make a decision. So after the decision has been made, the information has been gathered by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and the Pertuan Agong will present this information to the Conference of Rulers, so that the Conference of Rulers can give some feedback to the Yang di-Pertuan Agong on the wisdom on the who will become the Prime Minister. It is said here on 23rd November 2022, proses selanjutnya susulan daripada sesi menghadap hari ini, Seri Paduka Baginda telah menitah perkenan untuk Istana Negara menganjurkan satu perbincangan khas Raja-Raja Melayu, special meeting of the Conference of Ruler di Istana Negara esok Khamis 24 November 2022. Pembincangan khas Raja-Raja Melayu ini adalah bertujuan untuk Seri Paduka Baginda mendapatkan pandangan duli-duli yang Maha Mulia Raja-Raja Melayu bagi Baginda membuat keputusan demi kepentingan dan kesejahteraan negara dan rakyat. Lagi di sini kita tengok Yang di-Pertuan Agong, walaupun dia dah ada kuasa discretion, sudah ada kuasa constitutional convention untuk lantik ikut suka hati dia, tapi Yang di-Pertuan Agong still follow the constitution. Why Yang di-Pertuan Agong meet the Conference of Rulers? Because of Article 40(2)(c) of the Federal Constitution, where the Yang di-Pertuan Agong may act in his discretion also in the performance of the following function, that is to say, C, the requisition of a meeting of the Conference of Rulers concerned solely with the privileged position, honours and dignities of their Royal Highness and any action at such a meeting. So Yang di-Pertuan Agong, when asked for the special meeting of the Conference of Rulers, is based on his discretion to ask the rulers to meet. So that it is made based also on the Article 42(c) of the Federal Constitution. So most of the people out there, they will tell you there is two main provision to appoint Prime Minister, which is Article 42A and 43 2A just now. But actually, there is another provision, which is Article 42C, when there is a hung parliament. And the Pertuan Agong can make a consultation with the Conference of Rulers on how to make a decision. After all, yang di Pertuan Agong is appointed by the Conference of Rulers. So who are the best people that he can ask for advice? Of course, the people that appoint him as yang di Pertuan Agong in the first place. So we have a very good loop of law, as I can tell, loop of law, so that everything will comes around. So this is what happened after the Conference of Rulers have a consultation with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. Yang di-Pertuan Agong will appoint Prime Minister. So in the end, on 24th November, Step 10, we know the rest is history. Anwar Ibrahim has been appointed as the new Prime Minister, because after the gabungan have been formed and the decision to figure out how many number of MP support him to become Prime Minister has been decided based on the Kingmaker just now. And after the consultation with the Conference of Rulers about all of this process, in the end, Anwar Ibrahim has been appointed by Yang di-Pertuan Agong, who is likely to form a majority. What is majority? It is up to Yang di-Pertuan Agong to decide what is majority. Who is likely to form a majority and confidence from the Dewan Rakyat to become a Prime Minister. The number is still sketchy, but the number is with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong, who Yang di-Pertuan Agong feel that is likely to have a majority in the Dewan Rakyat. So this is all the 10 steps that is happening when we venture into the Constitutional Convention on the appointment of the Prime Minister after the general election. This is the first time in the history of Malaysia where we have a hung parliament after general election. The last time it was not after the Prime Minister, it's because of the resignation of the Prime Minister, but this time it is after the general election. So we have this kind of process. 10 steps to become how you will become a Prime Minister. And I can bet to anybody that the next step, if this is happen again in general election 16, the step will be shorter, because the wisdom of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong will become broader. Everybody know the process and everybody know how to cut the process. So the step next time, if this is happening again, the process will be simpler and shorter. That is just like what happened last time during Prime Minister Mahathir resigned and then Muhyiddin Yassin resigned. If you compare the process of Muhyiddin Yassin appointed as Prime Minister after the resignation is Ismail Sabri to become Prime Minister is become shorter. The process becomes shorter. It doesn't take a lot of time. So for this process for Anwar Ibrahim to become Prime Minister is from 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 6 days. And next time it might be 5 days or 4 days. It will become faster, because like any unwritten constitution also, the practice will become sharper, develop, something like that. So this is the lesson that we learned, and along this process we can see something. We can learn a lot of things here. Here, this is the last slide tonight. You can learn a lot of things from all of this step. At first, step 1, you don't need after the general election, you don't need to wake up until morning just to wait who will win the election. You don't need. All you need to do is you wait for the statement from Istana Negara, because Istana Negara is the one that will receive the official result. Istana Negara is where the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is will decide who will win the election, who will be appointed as prime minister. So you wait statement from Istana Negara. No need to wait until morning. You're killing yourself. And then we also figure out there is the function of the Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat is still there. So somebody might manipulate Yang di-Pertua Dewan Rakyat to have something, I don't know, in the future, because we know the convention is moving like that. And then we also, after the election, if there is no majority from all the coalition, there is the instruction is to have a gabungan. So before the election, people already expect to make a gabungan, to make a coalition after the election. And there is a possibility also for the rotating prime minister, that routes can be followed if they agree. So there's some kind of information that we need to know before we go into next general election. And the rule and the kingmaker's role is still quite important, and the conference of rulers also play a major role. So as you can see here, conference of rulers also play a pivotal role to determine, to consult the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. So all the negeri Tanah Melayu, Pahang, Kedah, Kelantan, Negeri Sembilan, the political parties, you must take care of your rulers. Take care of your rulers, so that the people that you want to become prime minister, the rulers will vote in your favor, something like that. So there is political thing that political people need to think about, so that the next appointment of the prime minister will come into their favor. So if you are smart, you know this process, you will know how to work around within this process. Now this is where is my coffee? I needed it. Why did Anwar say he want to test his legitimacy in parliament? That is very good move actually. That is not a wrong move. It is not a wrong move. It is a very good move from Anwar to test his legitimacy in parliament. This is usually done after the appointment of prime minister. If there is hung parliament, they will test. If he not test it, the opposition will try to make a motion to test his confidence. So you have both way. Either the test come from the government or the test come from the opposition. It will happen. It can become a political thing. So to kill off the political things from the opposition, Anwar it will come from the government to test himself as a prime minister. That is a good move. And of course, it is very hard for people to not agree or not support Anwar as become prime minister, because he is appointed by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong. If you don't agree, does that mean you don't agree with the Yang di-Pertuan Agong? I don't know. It's your political statement. So that we can explore more on that one. Because if you confirm your position as a prime minister, after that everything will come easily, because the next big thing is actually for finance or bill for monetary funds for the government. We need to make sure that the budget is passed in parliament. If the budget is not passed in parliament, I don't know how the government will function next year. Yes, now this sets the precedent. Yeah, this 10 step is actually the first precedence on constitutional convention on how to appoint a prime minister after general election. Yeah, Anwar. So I see This question from West ISIS. So he need to get support from as many MPs now. Yes, Anwar as the new Prime Minister being appointed confidently by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong must show to the Malaysian public his what we call his caliber as a prime minister to garner the confidence of the House of the Representative of the Dewan Rakyat. He must show that he can garner the enough support from the government from his friend and enemies alike to support him as prime minister. So that's it. The caliber of Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim as the new prime minister. If he get enough support, then it is good for him. Okay, I think that's all for tonight. You can share this video to all your friends, families, colleagues, public. It's all public. This is all public. You can share it. No need to ask for permission or whatever. And see you again for the next live stream, inshallah. Thank you for watching.